Hello, this is Dave Horwedel, and I'm here with the Torchlight Network. Now, what we're doing at the Torchlight Network is we're featuring various business people and what they're doing to cope with and hopefully even expand during the COVID pandemic, and how they're coping with the various, governmental regulations and shutdowns and all of that part, and how they're doing. Today we have Linda Rost. Linda Rost is the founder and owner of a large bookkeeping firm called Better Bookkeepers. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Dave.
How are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
All right. So my first question is how is Better Bookkeepers coping with the COVID-19 pandemic?
We're coping very well. We have most of our staff are working from home. Myself and one other employee comes into the office. Our business is such that it can largely be done remotely. If clients do want to come into the office, we make sure that we have followed the protocols, such as sterilizing the table and the chairs and the doorknob, etc., things like that.
Well, all right. And so it's been going all right for you there. Now are you an essential business there in California?
Yes.
All right, that's very convenient. I personally, I'm here in Nevada, and we're our main office, and we're an essential business too, and it makes me very happy that Governor Sisolak actually lacks the authority to shut us down, because I don't know if he would or wouldn't, but I'd rather just keep everything safe, which we do, and not have to worry about that stuff. So in COVID-19, with the various things going on, have you had to cope with any new challenges?
Well, we had to quickly learn about the PPP loan, and we're helping many of our clients with those loans. I help them by providing them with lists of banks that are, making the loans available, and providing whatever information I have about the requirements and specifications of the loans. In addition, we help them. In order to apply for the loan, you have to have certain financial reports for 2019 and through X date of this fiscal year. And so we help them get those financial reports all together.
Well, that sounds very good. I know that in my practice here, I've had to cope with the fact that a number of my clients want to delay their taxes because they don't have to file them that early. And because, I'm here in Las Vegas and all the casinos are closed down. So a lot of people, they're really, being very parsimonious, and if they cannot pay me, they won't. So I've had to do some extra, promoting. But it sounds like you, with the PPP loan, are actually able to, you have a lot of people, new people who need help with that. So if some of your old clients are delayed or want to take a little time off, you're still covered. Is that right?
That is right, for the most part, yes. And then even when they get the PPP loan, we have customized a little feature in QuickBooks to make it so that we can properly keep track of the transactions that the PPP loan should be spent on, so that when it comes time to ask the bank for forgiveness of the loan, the client can have a report of where they spent the money.
Well, that's a really valuable service, because if you have a business and maybe you get $50,000 in PPP to cover your payroll or whatever, it's nice that you don't inadvertently make a mistake that results in not being able to be forgiven.
That is true. And then the other thing that we do is we remind our clients when they get that loan that they've got 8 weeks to spend the money within the guidelines.
Yeah, it's really important, because I know from the tax practices that, sometimes people can make small mistakes. They're not really, following the ball really closely. And in this case, it could make a substantial financial difference.
I think you're right.
Well, okay. Now, what else are you doing to, keep your practice going and expanding? Any other tips you can give our viewers?
Well, we have standard promotional lines with our website. I have a constant contact campaign. I have a postcard campaign, and letters to CPAs campaigns.
Well, very good. That's also a very good point, because one of the most common reactions when income goes down that business people do is they save money by cutting their promotion. But that is, I highly recommend against that, because you need to do the promotion so that you can make money. And it seems like you've got that already under control for yourself.
Yes.
All right. And, anything else that comes to mind that you would like people to know about here?
Well, what I'd like people to know is that I've been in business for 20 years. I have a staff of about 10 people, and they're very well trained. And no matter what condition your books are in, even if it's a shoebox full of receipts, we can help you. And, a lot of small businesses and small business people, they start a business because they get excited about an idea, and accounting is the last thing on their mind. And a lot of them, actually might not understand accounting or how to read their reports or anything like that. And what they need to know is that the reports are like the scorecard of the game of business. If you don't keep track of how your money is being handled and where it's going, you won't really know whether or not you're winning the game of business. And so not only will we track your transactions so that you can have proper financial reports, one of the most fun things we can do is sit down with a small business owner and help them actually understand how to read those financial reports. And that is just very rewarding to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I also would like to make a comment here as a consumer of some of those reports, in that it's a lot easier doing a tax return if the figures on the bookkeeping make sense and if everything is orderly. And so for many people, it's a relief to do, when I get a client from Linda, it's pretty easy to do the tax return because I have the data there. The other thing, this is just sort of a humorous story that I have, is many years ago, I had a client come to me with all his bookkeeping on one of those little, sticks that he'd put into the computer. And this guy had a business that was grossing about $2 million a year. And he had spent 2 hours a day personally entering his invoices into QuickBooks, which seems like, okay, that's not a bad idea or whatever. So, but when we actually went through his invoices, his books made 0 sense. And we had to start at the beginning. Now, here you have a guy who's a driving force behind a business that's making $2 million a year, and he's spending 1/4 of his workday doing his bookkeeping, working on the invoices, and they're utterly worthless. If you just turned that stuff over to a bookkeeper, he probably would have made another $300,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, Linda, but not many of your clients charge $300,000. You charge $300,000 for their bookkeeping. Is that right?
No, I don't. In fact, many of our clients are small businesses and don't need a lot of bookkeeping. Most of our clients will need somewhere between 3 hours a month to 20 hours a month of bookkeeping. And so we specialize in, and they're small businesses and they want to keep their bookkeeping costs down. So we specialize in figuring out the fastest way to get the data in the books correctly. And we'll do whatever portion of the accounting cycle that the client needs. We're happy to do all of it, or we're happy to share the function with the client or their staff. And anything that the client or the staff does, we'll oversee it and make sure that it's hitting the financial statements properly.
Well, very good. Now, one other question for Linda. I know you're located in Northern California. Is that where your business, is that where you work with the businesses? Or are you also capable of working with businesses further away?
Okay. When somebody calls and says, hey, I need your bookkeeping services, the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to have a very detailed meeting with you, and I do that free of charge. And what I do is, with you, I look at your QuickBooks file, if you have one. If you don't have one, then I'll just ask you questions. But most people have something to start with. So together, we will look at your file, and we can do that remotely. And I'm going to look at every number on your balance sheet and determine the condition of your file. Then, based on that, I'm going to give you an estimate as to how long I think it'll take me to bring it current and clean it all up if it's messy. And then you just have to decide to accept that estimate. We work off of a retainer. I'll send you a bookkeeping agreement and a retainer that you'll agree with. And then once that's paid, then we will start our onboarding process. And onboarding includes what we will need is view-only online access to your accounts, bank, credit card, and loan accounts, and payroll. And it's through that method that it makes it possible for getting the data that we need from you so that we can get it into QuickBooks. It's the view-only aspect.
Well, that's very good. And also, just from what you're talking, I just want to mention here that a lot of businesses, when they're running around and getting started and going forward, if they don't know, they don't actually know how much money they're making or where they're making money from. So it's almost like a pilot flying blind. So by getting this data, doing the proper book, for many businesses, it can definitely increase their chances of success. And I also, from my viewpoint, because I mentioned that story earlier, because there's a lot of people in the field that if you're not a good bookkeeper, but you're good at what you do, then do what you do best, generate more income, and let the bookkeeper do the bookkeeping, and you will, you can wind up with a very successful business. Would you agree with that, Linda?
I would definitely agree. And let me tell you an interesting story. I have this one client who worries a lot. And every once in a while, yeah, she's an extra worrier. And every once in a while, she would call me up and tell me how bad it all is. And I would pull up her QuickBooks file, and there's this one particular report that I love. It's a net worth graph, and it'll tell you whether or not you're making the right decisions as a business owner. And I would pull that graph out with her, and I could easily say, you know what, yeah, you might be a little underwater, but look, all your numbers are going in the right direction. And then we would look at her financial statement and, figure out what she's doing right. I had another client call in, with a little bit of angst about how her business was going. And we sat down and looked at her profit and loss report, maybe by quarter or by year. I split it out over a period of time. And then I compared all the numbers horizontally and realized that she stopped spending money on marketing X months ago or X quarters ago. And no wonder her business was having a hard time. So it was an interesting thing. And I really love doing that kind of thing for people. The other thing I think people might appreciate is that I actually have been formally trained as a business consultant. And I have some good basics on things that small businesses should be doing for success. And I like to share those when it's appropriate.
Well, that's very good. And for the record, I have actually talked to several of her clients, and they're all very happy with how she services them and the advice that she gives them. So that's always a good feather in your cap, Linda.
Thank you.
Now, is there anything else you would like to say before we close off here, Linda?
What I'd like to say is that we're always open to help anybody that needs help with their bookkeeping. Like I said, I have a great staff and we have capacity. I pretty much never say no to helping somebody. And it's just what we love to do, and we're here for you when you're ready.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Linda, for being here on the Torchlight Network.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for watching.